Please go subscribe to the Rumble channel for Franchise Sports TV under the name FSTV22. Now, I'm using that Rumble channel for any purposes of me getting kicked off YouTube and also for more of my spicier joints. It's free as well. I have the freedom to say whatever I want to say as well. So go subscribe to FSTV22. That is Franchise Sports TV 22 on Rumble. Where were you at the night of the Malice in the Palace? A game between the Indiana Pacers and Detroit Pistons at the, what's the name of that place was called again? Yeah. Palace of Auburn Hills. Yeah. It's been so long since I even said that building's names. What do the Detroit Pistons play at now? It's called the Little Caesars Arena. But anyways, where were you that night on November 19, 2004, when Ron Artest got knocked by Ben Wallace, sat his ass, what's it called? I forgot what it's called. I can't think right now. What's it called? Not the scoreboard, but you know where you check in at from a sub. Yeah, that area, that table, scores table. Sat on the scores table, and someone had to throw that beer at Ron Artest, which ignited a whole brawl when civilians again decked out by NBA players. Steven Jackson goes into the stands, knocking people out. I think even Jermaine O'Neal even slid one on one guy. It was just a whole mess. Just a whole complete mess. Indiana Pacers had to be escorted out as Detroit Pistons fans are throwing stuff at them. Suspensions everywhere. Ron Artest basically suspended for the rest of the year. Steven Jackson got some time as well. So did Ben Wallace and some others. Jamal Tinsley, I think, was another one. I think they even suspended Reggie Miller. I think they even suspended him. He wasn't even playing that game. I think he was hurt. They didn't even got him too. But I didn't know anything about that until the next day, because I remember the night clearly. I don't know why I remember November 19, 2004 just like that. I remember actually when ESPN was actually ESPN. I think I was sitting at the barbershop in Milwaukee somewhere in the suburbs. I was getting my hair cut because I had to get up early. Not for any basketball tournament or nothing like that. No, I had to get up and go play in the band. Yeah, I was in a marching band briefly. I hated it. Was not my thing. But I had to get up and play in a marching band. I forgot what the occasion was, but we had to go march downtown Milwaukee. So I didn't know anything about the whole incident until the next morning. My dad has a TV on ESPN. He said, "Hey, look at this. Look at this." And I go running to the TV, and I just see a bunch of chaos. I see Ron Artest sitting on the scorer's table, getting a beer chucked at him, and then he just going to town. Just absolutely going to town. And it's amazing. It's been 20 years ago. I feel like it's been longer than that. But let me see something right quick. But for the ones who are not thought of yet, and when I say not thought of yet, we're not born yet, because I know a lot of people, a lot of NBA fans are younger now. Let me give you an accurate description of what happened. So the Malice of the Palace, known as the Pistons-Pacers brawl, was a fight involving both players and fans that occurred during an NBA game between the Indiana Pacers defending champion. Keep in mind, Detroit Pistons were fresh off winning the finals against the Lakers 4-1. On November 19, 2004, like I said, the Palace in Auburn Hills, Michigan. And Associated Press has called this the most infamous brawl in NBA history. Well, they ain't lying. Here's an more accurate description of what happened for you young ones that don't really know all the details. I'm sure some of you should know. Pacers center. Pistons center Ben Wallace attempted a layup shot but was fouled from behind by Pacers small forward Ron Artest. A furious Wallace then shoved Artest, and a fight broke out on the court between both teams. And these teams didn't really like each other. They were, of course, division rivals. Not so much today, but they were division rivals. Indiana Pacers thought they can be in the finals. They still say that to the end of this day, that they probably could have went to the finals if this brawl never would happen. But the players have been separate. Game officials were discussing consequences, and Ron Artest was lying on the scores table, pending an interview with a fan named John Green. Hit him with a drink thrown from several rows in the stands. Artest immediately charged into the crowd, grabbed another fan, Michael Ryan, who he mistakenly believed was the culprit. Several Pacers teammates followed. More drinks and punches were thrown. The incident escalated into a large brawl that spread from the stands to the court, involved fans, players from both teams. The game was never completed. I don't even think it went on the records for both teams. Maybe it did, I don't know. But it was never completed as a massive police presence was called to the venue to restore order later to allow the visiting Pacers to safely leave the building. And the end of score to this game was actually 97-82. It was pretty much over. There's 45 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Indiana was going to win the game. After the game, NBA suspended 9 players, including Ron Artest and Ben Wallace, for a total of 146 games, leaving the players losing $11 million in salary. 5 players were charged with assault and eventually sentenced to a year of probation and community service. 5 fans also faced assault charges and were banned from attending Piston home games for life. Damn. The fight also led to the NBA increase security between players and fans and limit the sale of alcohol at games. And it also changed the NBA culture, meaning dress code. I think this is around the same time he did this. So no more of the hippity hop gangster type clothing they was coming in with. Some of these dudes were coming in. No more jerseys. Now all you guys got to come in suits, or at least something that looks appropriate. But have times changed now, because now they coming in looking like, what's the best way to say this without getting YouTube on me? Now they coming in designer wear and almost wearing women's clothes. But anyways, let's keep going. I ain't gonna get to all the details. That was pretty much the details out there. Let's get to the suspensions right quick. So Ron Artest got 86 games the remainder of the season, 73 regular season games and 30 playoff games. Steven Jackson got 30 games. Jermaine O'Neal got 15 games. Originally set to have 25, but was reduced on appeal. Yeah, he chucked that dude. That was funny. Slid into that dude. Ben Wallace got 6 games. Anthony Johnson got 5 games. Richard Miller got 1 game, because I think he went into the stands. Chauncey Billups got 1 game. Derek Coleman. I didn't even know Derek Coleman was even on that team. 2004. Got 1 game. Eldon Campbell got 1 game. David Harrison, none. Arnold Artest was given the longest suspension. He was suspended. I think it was the longest suspension for an on-court incident in NBA history. And all these players, yeah, they said before, all these players, the money that they lost all equal to $11 million. That's nothing now these days. David Harrison was seen fighting with fans, but the NBA stated he would not be suspended because the incident occurred as the players were attempting to leave the floor. Huh. He got lucky. I know there's documentaries on this as well, too. As far as the legal charges, like I said, there were some fans banned from ever showing up to a Pistons game, even to this day. Artest, Harrison, Jackson, and Anthony Johnson were charged with 1 count of assault and battery each. 3 of the fans, including David Wallace, received 1 count of the same charge. Brian Jackson, who had prior criminal convictions, was charged with a felony assault for throwing a chair, which nearly hit O'Neal during the brawl. 2 fans, Hatter and Shackelford, who entered the court during the fight, was charged with trespassing. All the fans involved were banned from attending Pistons home games, like I said before. Brian Jackson pleaded a no contest to a felony assault charge for throwing the chair. 2005, he was sentenced to 2 years probation and ordered to pay $6,000 in restitution. Wallace was convicted and sentenced to 1 year probation and community service for punching Pacers player Fred Jones from behind. All players who were charged pleaded no contest to charges. Ron Artest, Steven Jackson, Jermaine O'Neal were sentenced to 1 year probation, 60 hours of community service. $250 fine, and anger management counseling. Damn. A week later, Harrison received the same sentence. October 05, Johnson, the last player to be charged, received a similar sentence. He was ordered to serve 100 hours of community service. Interesting. Green, guilty on one count of assault and battery for punching Artest in the stands. They acquitted him of assault charge for throwing the cup. 2006, Green was sentenced to 30 days in jail and 2 years probation. Later that year, November 2006. Oh my goodness. First year in California. The Pistons issued a letter to Green informing that he was banned for life from attending any Pistons home games under the orders of the NBA. In a revision from an additional punishment 2 years prior, the ban no longer extended to other events at the Palace. So those guys can go to any, Palace of Auburn Hills don't exist anymore, but they can go to any other event that's probably held in, I guess, the Little Caesars Arena, but they still can't go to a Pistons game. I don't know how many events they hold in Little Caesars Arena now. The aftermath. And I remember the aftermath. Oh my goodness. I remember it was on every news channel. CNN. I think CNN was around the headline. It was on everything. Animal Planet. Lifetime. I'm not even lying. It wasn't on Animal Planet. I don't know why. It was on everything. It was on everything. Pistons fans refer to the team as thugs. It was crazy. I just remember it just being talked about all Saturday, all day Saturday. I think it was still talked about all that weekend because it was on a Friday. It was just talking about it the whole entire time. It was crazy. Some of the NBA teams immediately increased protection of players in the arena, while the NBA reminded teams of existing security procedures. The league imposed new security guidelines for all its arenas. New policies include a size limit of 24 U.S. ounce for alcohol purchases, a hard cap of 2 alcohol beverages per purchase for any individual person, and a discontinuation of sales after the end of the third quarter. The NBA later ordered that each team put at least 3 security guards between the players and the fans. And I think those rules are still there today. And this, of course, was not the last of the brawls at all. They said the day after, they said the Clemson South Carolina football brawl happened. That I don't remember. But they said South Carolina and Clemson teams declined their bowl bids and received penalties from their respective conferences following the brawl. Trying to read more. It's funny. On March 25th, 2005, the Pacers played at the Palace for the first time since the brawl. The game was delayed 90 minutes after a series of bomb threats were aimed at the Pacers locker room, but the game eventually started. No explosives were found. 2 of the key figures in the original incident missed the game as Artest was still suspended. Jermaine O'Neal had an injured shoulder in the game. Pacers stopped the Pistons' 12-game home winning streak with a 94-81 win. Pistons entered as the second seed, and yeah, they would go to the NBA Finals again, defeating the Philadelphia 76ers, Miami Heat, and of course, the nemesis now, Pacers, for losing to the San Antonio Spurs in 7 games. Pacers would finish that season as the 6th spot, beating the Boston Celtics, upsetting the Boston Celtics, 3rd seed Boston Celtics in 7 games. I think right after that, Artest was suspended. Not suspended. I think he was eventually traded to the Sacramento Kings for Peja Stojakovic. It was a weird trade at the time, but whatever. Then as you know, Ron Artest went to the Kings, then to the Houston Rockets, and then he ended up going to the Los Angeles Lakers when he won his one and only ring in 2010. He later apologized to Jackson and other Pacers for being so young and egotistical. At least he said this after winning his first championship. Stated, "Sometimes I feel like a coward when I see those guys. I'm on the Lakers, but I had a chance to win with you guys. I almost feel like a coward." On September 16th, 11, Ron Artest leader changed his name to Metta World Peace. So that was pretty much some of the aftermath of that. But that whole thing was crazy. Absolutely crazy as well. So on November 19th, 5 years after the incident, John Green, a fan who helped instigate the brawl, appeared on ESPN First Take when he talked about the incident and charges he made since then. Green recounted that he had an alcohol problem at the time and had since made an effort to deal with that. He said that Artest has apologized to him several months earlier and wished to work together in some type of community service in Detroit. On June 9, 2017, Ron Artest, I'm not calling him Metta World Peace, but Ron Artest appeared on the Rich Eisen show and alluded to his friendship with Green. In a later interview, Artest revealed that Green had told him that he had thrown the drink at him after making a $50 bet with Ryan that he wouldn't be able to hit Artest, and that Artest had charged Ryan because he had hands up in celebration on a winning bet. Interesting. Almost 4 years after the incident, another similar incident happened also at the same arena, this time between the Los Angeles Sparks and Detroit Shock. Later, Tulsa Shock, now as the Dallas Wings, WNBA, they gave her the nickname Malice of the Palace II. And I think it was like only 2-3 years later, there was another brawl between the Knicks and Denver Nuggets, the one with Carmelo and Nate Robinson had all that. So, yeah, the NBA had their share of brawls. Those are probably being the two most notable ones. But yeah, the Malice of the Palace was a crazy one. It was absolutely just, can I say it was sad? At the time, as a 14-year-old, I thought it was funny. But you looking back at it now, it's just like, damn, there's a bunch of freaking just hooligans just going stupid, going crazy on both sides, fans and players. But now you'll never see anything like that now. You'll never see anything like that now anymore. Because first of all, it's way too much security. Second of all, these guys thinking about their paychecks. And three, some of these guys ain't built for the fist throwing. Some maybe. Maybe it's a small percentage. But not all. These guys are too soft for all of that. But anyways, tell me what you guys think. Tell me where were you on the night of that brawl? And your reaction to the brawl when it happened for some of the people who were around that